Deion and I, we were very competitive. He was the flashy, flamboyant, type of defensive back. And yes, I wanted to get up in the skin. Because I think football is a total team sport. Deion came to us. He did some great things on the football field. He was an excellent corner, and he helped us to win a Super Bowl. But everyone made it seem like it was all about Deion. Well, when he went to the Cowboys, I knew it was going to be a big-time rivalry, all over again. And I think so many people connected because they wanted to see us do better. Mm-hmm. And I was able to win some of those battles.
For decades, NFL legends couldn't stand Deion Sanders, and the tension got so real, it almost turned into fights. Jerry Rice just revealed wild details about why so many players disliked primetime and how that beef shook teams from the inside.
And both of you were fined $7,500. Basically, I guess they're saying that Sanders was the instigator, but both of you guys were at fault, so you both got a small fine.
Careers cracked, locker rooms split, and egos collided like never before. Back in 1989, Jerry Rice was already the unquestioned king in San Francisco, putting up historic numbers and owning the league. But then came a whole storm named Deion Sanders. Primetime hit the NFL with Atlanta like a lightning strike. Fast, loud, fearless, and carrying swagger that lit up every stadium.
He was scared to death. He knew he was going to lose, but he talked his way out of it and still looked like primetime. Like he just made me look bad.
With track speed and a personality too big to ignore, Deion didn't just play corner. He owned the role. Receivers like Rice didn't just try to beat Deion Sanders. They had to survive the embarrassment of even lining up across from him, and that's where everything blew up. Primetime didn't just cover you. He made you feel it in your chest. Sanders wasn't just an athlete. He was a full-on performer. Gold chains swinging mid-play, end zone dances that sent crowds into chaos, and interviews dripping with confidence that old-school vets called arrogance. To legends like Rice, who lived by discipline, quiet grind, and team-first energy, Deion felt like a whole different universe. He was the new wave, loud, proud, explosive, and untouchable. But the wildest part came in 2023 when Jerry Rice finally confirmed what fans whispered for years. He admitted, "There was a time when I hated Deion Sanders. Not the person, but the competitor, the shadow in his mind, the force that wouldn't go away. This wasn't some normal rivalry. It was obsession."
I never disliked someone. If someone talked about me, that's the misconception. I never talked on the field. No. Now, you did. You talked like the best.
I was provoked.
You provoked. No, some people you ain't like though. Some people you ain't like, and you did your homework, and you found out everything. You talked about it like a.
Rice said facing Deion pushed him into places he didn't know he could reach, but it cost him peace. Long nights, non-stop training, and straight-up mental chess games just to stay sharp. Their matchups became myth-level battles. Rice spent nights studying Deion's footwork, crafting slick releases, double moves, triple cuts, anything to grab one step of space. Every snap turned into psychological warfare, and every route felt like a test of pride. Deion wasn't just fast. He was unpredictable, bold, and completely unaffected by the hate raining his way. With 8 Pro Bowls, 53 picks, and 8 pick sixes, he proved style and skill could roll together and still dominate. He was football's version of a rock star, turning cornerback play into pure spectacle. To the old guard, Deion was chaos in cleats, forcing veterans to question their style, their mindset, and the whole idea of what a defender should be. Jerry Rice even admitted that every time he lined up against primetime, it felt like a clash of worlds. Classic grit versus modern flash. This wasn't just competition. It was pride, legacy, and 2 football worlds crashing into each other.
We went at it. I mean, folks would stop to see us go at it. Mac was the same way, man. Mac was a dog, man.
Right.
And Mac had a whole different type of game. And Jerry was too. Andre Rison was a dog.
Right.
Yes, I played with some guys that can go to work, and we went to work in practice. But Jerry and I, because of the previous battles, the practice against him, it was very interesting.
Rice was the perfectionist, obsessed with clean routes and flawless technique, while Deion Sanders was the flashy rebel who turned defense into pure entertainment. And the wild part? They needed each other to reach their highest level. Their rivalry didn't only light up games, it shaped an entire era. Even years later, Rice admitted Deion kept him awake at night, not out of anger, but out of respect, blended with irritation. Sanders sharpened him, pushed him, stressed him, and somehow made him unforgettable.
Talk about y'all and it ain't gonna be personal. You think I'm gonna let them doubt y'all and it ain't gonna be personal? It's personal for real. Don't wanna hear no more talking. Let's do it. How about it? You got to feel that energy inside of you that we're coming. Oh my! Touchdown, Colorado! All you want is an opportunity to win. And darn it, I'm gonna give you that.
Deion Sanders didn't just play football, he flipped the whole style of the game. And for legends like Rice, that change came with respect, resentment, and the truth nobody could deny. Prime Time was the one man who truly got under his skin. Then came one of the rawest confessions ever caught on camera. On Kevin Hart's Cold as Balls podcast, Jerry Rice didn't dodge a thing. "I hated that guy, man. We couldn't get along," he said, voice carrying years of built-up frustration. You could feel the weight as he explained how Deion made every matchup feel like war, forcing him to train harder than any receiver alive. No easy Sundays when Prime Time lined up across from you. Every route, every snap, every second felt like a showdown. And the numbers only tell part of the story. Across more than 10 head-to-head battles, not counting their short run as teammates, Rice posted 60 catches, 1,051 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Solid, right? But here's the twist. Sanders grabbed 4 interceptions during those meetings, and quarterbacks were so rattled by him that they stopped throwing to his side altogether. That's not just talent, that's psychological control.
Talk about y'all and it ain't gonna be personal. You think I'm gonna let them doubt y'all and it ain't gonna be personal? It's personal for real. Don't wanna hear no more talking. Let's do it. How about it? You got to feel that energy inside of you that we're coming. Oh my! Touchdown, Colorado! All you want is an opportunity to win. And darn it, I'm gonna give you that.
Entire offenses fell apart when they realized Deion had locked down half the field. But what truly made this rivalry iconic wasn't just the stats, it was the culture clash. Rice represented that old-school grind, the belief that respect was earned through work, silence, and humility. Sanders was the face of a whole new era, all flash, swagger, and pure Showtime energy. He didn't just play football, he turned the field into a stage. Gold chains shining, stylish touchdowns, cameras locked on him every second. Deion knew the world was watching, and he put on a show every time he touched the field. Rice came from a generation where glory belonged to the team, not the individual. But Deion saw where the game was headed. In the 90s, personality sold out stadiums, celebrations made headlines, and charisma turned athletes into brands. While Rice protected his legacy, Sanders was building something bigger, a personal empire. Their tension wasn't just personal drama, it was the N.F.L. hitting a crossroads, tradition versus transformation. Rice couldn't stand what Deion represented, yet he knew Prime Time was reshaping football right in front of him, and that truth hit deep. Even Deion later admitted their battles were special. Their practice reps became must-see moments. Players and coaches literally stopped drills just to watch them clash, like two giants going blow for blow. Every snap felt like a statement, every rep like a challenge. But under all that fire sat real respect, buried under layers of pride and competitive heat. Still, Rice's frustration ran heavy. In his Sports Illustrated column, he admitted, "I couldn't sleep the night before when I knew he'd be covering me." Think about that. The greatest receiver ever losing sleep over one man. That's how deep Prime Time got into his mind, living there without paying rent. The twist is, that same frustration became fuel. Deion forced Rice to evolve, sharpen his roots, and fight with a level of intensity he might have never unlocked without him.
It was an awesome move. But at the same time, I'm telling you, man, you 21 years old, you ain't been in the South. You like, I ain't going. You know, I'm not going down there. And, you know, years later, you become best of friends with Akon, and best of friends with Big Meech, best of friends with, you know, all these just stars and entertainers, Deion Sanders, and all these people. So you don't know that coming.
What started as rivalry turned into obsession, and what began as hatred eventually became part of their legacy. Without Deion, Jerry Rice would have still been great, but with Deion chasing him every week, he became unstoppable. This wasn't just frustration, it was pure motivation that pushed both men to another level. Rice even said their rivalry proved iron sharpens iron, and you could see that play out under those blazing NFL lights. Every route, every pick, every touchdown was another chapter in a battle between two icons who refused to fold. But back then, Rice had no idea destiny was lining up a wild twist. That fiery tension was about to face the ultimate test, because soon these two rivals wouldn't be staring each other down. They'd be forced to work side by side. 1994 rolled around and everything flipped upside down. After years of locking down the league with Atlanta, Deion "Primetime" Sanders made a move that shook the NFL to its core. He signed with the San Francisco 49ers, Jerry Rice's team. Same locker room, same field, same mission, but two men carrying a whole vault of unfinished business. This wasn't some simple signing, it was an earthquake. Deion didn't stroll in quietly either. It was a planned move, a real chess play. The 49ers were tired of getting bounced by Dallas in back-to-back NFC title games, and their defense couldn't keep up with that explosive Cowboys offense. They needed a shutdown corner who could take Dallas out of the picture, and that man was Deion. But there was one massive catch. Bringing in Primetime meant dropping him right into the same locker room as Jerry Rice, the guy who'd spent years losing sleep over him. Imagine that, having to trust the rival who haunted your dreams, all for a shot at the championship you've been chasing forever. That was pressure on a whole different level. The tension hit instantly. Jerry Rice, the heartbeat of the 49ers, all discipline, humility, and laser focus, now staring at Deion Sanders, the definition of the new school vibe he couldn't stand. The chains, the swagger, the spotlight energy.
Yeah. And both of you were fined $7,500. Basically, I guess they're saying that Sanders was the instigator, but both of you guys were at fault. So you both got a small fine.
I mean, in the movie, it's going to be real good, But football is a physical game.
Rice saw it all as disrespect toward the 49ers' quiet, hard-nosed tradition. He didn't just doubt whether Deion fit the culture, he questioned if the man could ever fully buy in, and honestly, you couldn't blame him. This was the same Deion who talked to receivers mid-route and celebrated right in your face after a pick. Now that same dude was sitting a few feet away, calling himself your teammate. For Rice, it felt like emotional whiplash. He'd spent years prepping for war against this man, and suddenly, he had to depend on him. And here's the wild part. The team needed Deion to win. The 49ers offense was elite, but their defense collapsed when the pressure hit, especially against the Cowboys. Those losses stung Jerry like scars, and now management was betting the whole Super Bowl run on the one player he never wanted beside him. The locker room energy was electric, but shaky. Rice could feel the tension, and Deion walked in with full confidence like the building belonged to him. Both men carried pride like armor, and everybody around them felt the heat. From the outside, it looked like a super team, but inside, it felt like a bomb waiting for a spark. Now Jerry Rice had to trust the exact type of player he once swore he'd never line up with. The irony was crazy. The 49ers were literally hanging their Super Bowl dreams on two men who were total opposites. Old school discipline versus new school swagger. The quiet perfectionist versus the walking highlight reel.
Other time is undefeated. And that's what's wrong with our old heads, man. That's what we call those guys.
It was a football marriage that looked doomed from the start. Deion Sanders later admitted those mind games he used weren't random. They were weapons. He studied opponents, learned how to slide into their heads, and used psychology like a blade. That was Primetime's real secret. Not just speed, but mental control. But now he had to flip that energy and lift Jerry Rice's team instead of rattling him. And that alone was a wild test neither man expected. The culture clash hit instantly. Rice showed up early, locked in, already sweating before warm-ups even started. He lived in the film room like it was home, studying every corner and every pattern. Meanwhile, Sanders rolled in calm, relaxed, joking, moving with effortless confidence. To Rice, it looked lazy. To Deion, it was flow. Where Jerry saw arrogance, Deion saw self-belief. Where Deion saw tight control, Jerry saw real commitment. Two different football languages, but both backed by dominance. Then something crazy happened. The chemistry clicked on the field. With Sanders locking down an entire side of the field, the 49ers' defense transformed overnight. Quarterbacks didn't even want to look his way, giving the defense freedom to attack like never before. Deion brought swagger and a sharp edge that lifted the whole squad. And Jerry Rice? He went off. His roots got sharper, his energy raised, and it felt like Deion's presence reignited a spark inside him. Knowing his old rival was now counting on him pushed him to another level. One man powered by precision, the other by flair, and together they created balance. The results were undeniable. Week after week, San Francisco steamrolled opponents with cold efficiency. The defense finally looked complete. The offense was cooking, and even if the locker room was tense, the field showed pure synergy. Rice's discipline matched with Sanders' smooth confidence, and somehow it blended perfectly. By the end of the season, the message was loud. The 49ers hadn't just fixed a weakness, they'd created a monster. The league watched in disbelief as two men who once couldn't stand each other now led the same charge toward greatness. The gamble worked, at least for the moment, and fans felt history unfolding. Jerry Rice kept rewriting the record books, but as the playoffs approached, the tension simmering all year was ready to erupt, and the setup couldn't have been more dramatic. It was the 1994 season, leading to Super Bowl 29, the grand stage built for legends. The 49ers had finally taken down their biggest nightmare, the Dallas Cowboys, thanks largely to Deion Sanders shutting down their dangerous passing attack. The city was buzzing, the dynasty felt alive, and the trophy was close enough to touch. Just days before the biggest game of their lives, everything almost blew apart. The shaky peace between Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders was hanging by a thread, and it was about to snap. It all started when Sanders broke team curfew right before the Super Bowl. In an era when discipline was everything, that was a huge line to cross. Deion wanted to celebrate early, hit the nightlife, loosen up before the pressure hit. But to Jerry Rice, that wasn't fun. That was disrespect. Rice had spent his whole career preaching sacrifice, focus, and total dedication. And now, on the eve of the championship, his most high-profile teammate was out partying. Witnesses said that the second Deion walked in after curfew, the room froze. Rice's expression said everything, years of frustration rising all at once. The quiet perfectionist finally snapped. What happened next became locker room legend. Players described the showdown as explosive. Rice and Sanders going face-to-face, shouting so loud the walls shook. It got so heated it nearly turned physical. Words flew, harsh ones, and the entire room went silent. Coaches, trainers, even veterans didn't dare step in. This wasn't about a curfew, it was about principle. Rice was sending a message. When we step on that field, we work. To him, the Super Bowl demanded perfection. To Rice, Deion's behavior represented everything wrong with the modern game. Too much shine, not enough discipline. And to Deion, Jerry's blow-up showed that old-school stiffness that never understood his flow. Two football giants, two completely different mindsets, clashing days before the game of their lives. The room felt like a powder keg ready to blow. Teammates and coaches held their breath, knowing the entire season was hanging in the balance. One wrong move, and the 49ers' dream, all the sweat, heartbreak, and years of grinding, could have crumbled right there, but then something wild happened. Instead of tearing the team apart, that confrontation flipped a switch. That near explosion forced both men to face the truth. Their pride, intensity, and fire were actually pushing them toward the same mission. For the first time all season, Deion Sanders seemed to take Jerry Rice's words seriously. He came back to practice locked in, sharper, focused, and ready to work. And Rice, finally releasing years of bottled-up tension, suddenly looked lighter and more dangerous than ever, channeling all that emotion straight into elite performance. That confrontation became the wake-up call the locker room didn't even know it needed. The energy shifted, players tightened up mentally, and the team moved with one mindset. Rice and Sanders were finally aligned, and from that point on, the 49ers became a machine. When Super Bowl 29 arrived, there was no tension, just pure domination. Sanders shut down the secondary with ease, while Rice went into full legend mode, catching 10 passes for 149 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was destruction from start to finish. San Francisco smashed the Chargers and lifted the Lombardi Trophy high, proving that chaos, when controlled, can create champions. What started as hate evolved into respect, and their rivalry turned into one of the NFL's most iconic partnerships. That Super Bowl became the perfect example of what happens when two unstoppable forces drop the ego and chase one goal: victory. The 49ers didn't just win, they crushed the Chargers 49-26. They reminded the world what greatness looked like. And the best part? Both Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders were right in the middle of that dominance. Rice, fighting through a separated shoulder from the NFC Championship, delivered a monster performance. 10 catches, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pure warrior energy. And no, that injury didn't come from Sanders, no matter what old rumors floated around. Meanwhile, Deion was a nightmare for the Chargers offense. His lockdown coverage smothered their passing attack and forced mistakes all night. He brought the swagger and defensive edge the 49ers had been missing, the missing piece that finally pushed them over the title hump. When the final whistle blew and confetti fell, both men stood side by side with Super Bowl rings on their fingers. Proof that even the fiercest rivals can unite when the mission is bigger than ego. That moment showed that respect, even born from tension, can lead to greatness. But peace in the NFL never lasts long. When the celebrations faded, both men felt the storm coming. Deion's stay in San Francisco was short, and his next move sparked one of the wildest twists in league history. Deion wasn't just a cornerback. He was part athlete, part entertainer, part mogul. And that's exactly why some NFL legends couldn't stand him. He was too bold, too loud, too far ahead of the curve. But the truth is simple. The same traits that made people hate him are the ones that made him iconic. Primetime didn't just change football. He changed the culture forever. Critics never stopped coming after Deion Sanders, calling him selfish or claiming he didn't hit enough or avoided tackles. But they completely missed the real story. Deion didn't need to throw his body around to dominate. His presence alone shut down offenses, forcing quarterbacks to avoid his entire side of the field like it was cursed. Even Jerry Rice, after years of frustration, eventually understood what Deion brought. Time gave Jerry clarity, turning resentment into respect. He later admitted his so-called hate wasn't personal. It was fuel that pushed both men to levels few players ever touched. Their rivalry became a symbol of the NFL's evolution. What old school legends saw as disrespect was really innovation in disguise. Deion didn't break football culture. He expanded it. He proved athletes could be bold, expressive, and unapologetically themselves while still performing at an elite level. Even Brandon Marshall once said older players resist change because of fear of fading away, not because they're right. That fear still exists today. And the same criticism once thrown. In 1995, Sanders shocked everyone by signing with the Dallas Cowboys, the team the 49ers had battled for years. To Jerry Rice, it felt like betrayal wrapped in neon lights. Imagine winning a championship with a man you finally learned to respect, only for him to join your biggest rival for a bigger paycheck. To Rice, that move confirmed everything he feared. Loyalty meant everything to him. He bled for San Francisco. While in his eyes, Deion chased fame, money, and spotlight. And to the old school legends watching from the sidelines, that move hit like a punch straight to the heart. Deion Sanders joining the Cowboys hit the NFL like a thunderbolt. It wasn't just a team switch. It was a cultural shock that exposed how fast the league was changing. Sanders represented a new kind of athlete, someone who viewed football as both competition and business. He wasn't just grabbing interceptions, he was grabbing opportunities and shaping a brand before branding even existed. To old school legends like Jerry Rice, that felt like a crime against the game. They believed in silence, humility, and letting the work speak. But Deion flipped the script, talking big, living big, and proving himself every Sunday with style that couldn't be ignored. When he put on that Cowboys uniform, it wasn't just rivalry. It was a full-on clash of eras. Rice versus Sanders, tradition versus reinvention, loyalty versus legacy. Fans loved the drama. But players felt the philosophy behind every moment. Deion now gets tossed at his sons, Shadir and Shiloh Sanders. People call them arrogant or entitled, But really, they're carrying the same confidence their father pioneered, mixing talent, branding, and business like pros. And the story didn't end in rivalry. Far from it. Jerry Rice eventually praised Deion, not just as a player, but as a man lifting young athletes. When Deion coached at Jackson State and later Colorado, Rice publicly saluted him for creating real opportunities and changing lives. He saw that Primetime's mission was bigger than spotlight. It was about impact. Deion proved that behind the chains and celebrations was someone fully committed to shaping the next generation. And today, in a world of nil deals, transfer portals, and personal branding, it's clear Deion was ahead of everyone. His philosophy didn't just survive. It won. Athletes aren't just competitors anymore. They're brands, creators, entrepreneurs. Deion predicted that long before the world caught up. The saga of Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders is really a story about evolution and perspective. Two legends who started as enemies became uneasy allies and ended up symbols of how far the sport has come. Their rivalry wasn't about hate. It was two visions of greatness colliding until both sides understood each other. In the end, the old guard didn't hate Deion's character. They feared the change he represented. And now that swagger, branding, individuality, and freedom he championed have become the soul of modern sports. Deion wasn't just prime time. He was the future, and the NFL finally caught up to him.